Good evening. I'm Kim Aston, your host of the Cosmic Disclosure Hour. Good to see everybody tonight. Glad you're here. We're going to have a lot of fun. We are actually covering this week's, the very first season of Cosmic Disclosure, episode 3, called Clones and Programmable Life Forms. At this stage of the seasons, the very first season, Emery Smith is being asked questions instead of the interviewer. He's the interviewee. And David Wilcock is the person doing the questioning. In case you've not been on this show before or you've not seen Cosmic Disclosure on Gaia, it is a program of whistleblowers and secret space programs, secret technology, all of the things that they're hiding from us. And you can go see that show on Gaia. It's called Cosmic Disclosure. And that's what we do here is we talk all about these episodes. And we are starting from the beginning. We've already done episode 1 and 2. Now we're on episode 3. All right, let's get started. Okay, so we're going to start with something that was really amazing. Emery, as you recall, Emery's been working on all these tissue specimens. And they would start out as like hands, fingers, arms, legs, and then he started to get full bodies. Now with these full bodies, they were extraterrestrial. He was actually working on extraterrestrial bodies. The body that he talks about in episode 3 was very unique, very different than all of the others. This one was made of a viscous material, as if it was, which brings us to question number 1. I put out questions during the middle of the week. Question number 1 was, what type of food was used to describe the entity in this episode? And it was Jell-O. Jell-O, I kid you not. I even have an image for you. So these beings came in all forms, shapes, and sizes. And one of them was in a gel form. Now get a load of this. This is an image that I came up with that, to the best of my ability, describes what Emery was faced with. If you can imagine, this is a being that is made of like a gel form. It seems as if it was in transition, Emery says. He thinks that this being was actually solid, but was in the transitional stage. And so that's why he explains that it is in this form, he believes. Very interesting, right? With this being, he had to use special equipment. Whenever they would cut into this being, it would light up in the incision area. And Emery was told to stop. And they instructed him to go ahead and use a suction device, a very, very small suction device, a 30 gauge needle type suction that was very sharp. And that was how he got his specimens from this body. He was not allowed to actually take specimen from the colored areas. So he had to stay in the areas that were, I guess, the clear gel area, because the colored areas, they speculated, had something to do with advanced technology, like dimensional travel. Who knows? So he felt at this point that he was not that advanced in the program, so he was instructed not to take sample from the colored areas. Very interesting, right? Great. So moving on, these beings were able to shapeshift. He believes that this was, like I said, it was in the middle of shapeshifting, and so he thinks that that's why the reason for the way it was so viscous and jello-like. Okay, so moving on. So Emery was telling David that people, it was very difficult to maintain the secrecy. People would be talking after hours, and Emery noticed they would come up missing. They wouldn't be at work the next day. It was hard for most people to keep quiet, but Emery, it was not difficult for him. He really wanted this to work. He wanted to keep doing this. He was borderline obsessed, fascinated with this. So he was really good at keeping secrets. He never told anyone. And but it was pretty frightening to think that these people that he was working with earlier were not showing up for work. Wouldn't that be crazy? I mean, it'd be kind of terrible. It's basically let you know you don't say a word. Otherwise, what happened to these people? Did they just lose their job or did they lose their life? Right? Emery was monitored 24/7, including people that he was with. So it was very difficult for him to have friends and to engage with his family. And I think in later episodes it goes in more depth about how he had lost some loved ones. So around the time that Emery had lost everything, we covered that in episode 2, I believe, where they raided Emery's lab and they took everything. They took all of his equipment, all of his inventions, and trashed his entire lab. And not long after that, the person that's actually interviewing Emery, let me give you a little background on David Wilcock. He and Emery go back 10 years. 10 years. And he had been trying to get Emery to come forward for all those years. And you'll notice in the earlier episodes, Emery's going as Paul. He refers to himself as Paul because he obviously wants to maintain his identity as secret. But he came out as Emery in the first episode. So the stakes are high. Your life is on the line. It's very scary stuff. But going back to David, David considered it worth the risk to maintain his relationship with Emery. And that says a lot about David, doesn't it? Very brave soul. Taking one for the team, hanging out with Emery, risking his life, and trying to get Emery to come forward. Great guy, And especially Emery doesn't have anybody around. There's somebody to talk to, right? So trouble is, after Emery got raided, David's brakes mysteriously went out on his vehicle. And I guess, it was pretty obvious that it was sabotage. So these are things that are things that they had to deal with. And David was right there with Emery going through it. So, kudos to him. Moving on. So Emery was obsessed with this. He loved this program. He was absolutely just dumbfounded by everything. And he had estimated that he had he was in contact with at least 3,000 specimens. And these specimens include everything, not just alien, but everything, but mostly alien tissues. And every specimen was different. If he needed a particular instrument, he got it right away. If he requested it, it was given to him through the wall. How mysterious is that? Pretty cool. But they don't mess around. These people were really, really investigating these extraterrestrial bodies to the nth degree. And it was a very serious program. So David asked, he's interviewing Emery, and he asked Emery, he says, there was the discussion, or they were discussing the controversial alien autopsy film, the Santilli film. Have any of you heard of that? Santilli film. That is pretty famous. Most of you that if you're here by now, you've probably heard and seen of it. Let me show you some pictures. The This is the one where did the alien autopsy. Now, it's controversial because they don't know if it's true or not. But that's, you have to look into that. They're saying it'd be really hard to fake that. But the reason David brings this up is he wants to know if Emery's come across these lenses that are on the eyes of these aliens. And Emery went on to say that he has seen many of those. They almost always have lenses over their eyes. He's seen all kinds of colors. For instance, he's seen violet and pink. So the shapes were different too. The shapes were not always the same because the eyes of these aliens varied as well. The shapes. If the eye was a diamond or trapezoid or hexagon shape, that's the shape that the lens would be. And the lens was not biological. It was not made of, cells and DNA. It was definitely just a piece of synthetic material. Now, Emery suspects that this is where they back engineered night vision and infrared from these lenses, because through the grapevine he was hearing discussion about that they had taken these lenses and back engineered them, and that's how we got it. That's how we got the infrared and the night vision. Doesn't surprise me a bit. Kind of interesting. So yeah, about those lenses. Good question. David brought up a good question. He says, now, Emery, doesn't it make sense, this question? You would think, a human mind would think that they were so high tech that these lenses would have little like Google screens with information being fed through them where you could see, like we haven't even got there. Or well, I guess we have gotten there. I just heard recently that we actually do have that in glasses. It'll be in everything, contacts soon and all of that. But where, information, you can see your phone through your glasses, right? Well, David asks Emery if that's the case with these lenses. Do they have like little information, going across on a ticker? Or can they just, think up a question and then it shows up on their lens? And Emery said, by now, these beings, if they're here, they don't even need that. They don't need any information like that because all their information is telepathic. It's coming through their mind. They're so much further advanced that they don't even need that. So the lenses are just so that they can function properly here on Earth. So yeah, good question, David. Good question. That brings us to question number, I believe it was, I thought we had a question about those. Oh yeah, okay, so were the lenses circular or were they different shapes? And yeah, they were different shapes. So that answers that question for you. Okay, now just to move on here a little bit further, we're going to go on to another question that was asked this Wednesday. What did the helmet and the chair have to do with the electronics of the spaceships that Emery saw? What do helmets and chairs have to do with the electronics of the spaceship or ships that Emery saw? Nada. Nothing. There were no helmets that operated these ships, and there were no chairs, no gadgets, no plugs, no pulleys, none of that. In fact, he said he'd seen where people drew up pictures of the insides of ships and they had all these, toggles and such and levers. And he said, there's none of that. At best, I mean, I've heard that they have these just, they probably sit. I think they do sit, but they just place their hand on a surface and the surface knows them. Because a lot of these spaceships are made from the pilot's DNA, so they're one and the same. So they're thinking the same thoughts. And, yeah, let's go to 1982 on Earth. And there you go. Kind of cool. But there's absolutely no helmet and no chair. Gotcha on that one, right? Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I want to make sure that I see everybody there. Okay, yeah, we're doing good here, people. The next question is, why did Emery say he believed the reason was that we could not understand the ET's ways or sciences? Why did he say that we couldn't understand them? The answer is because it's not been invented yet here. There is no way we could comprehend some of the things these guys are doing because it's just not invented yet. Dun dun dun. Okay, let's go back to another question. We had another question. Did the apparatus that Emery assumed was for breathing and communication, did it come from the back of the neck? That was A, back of the neck. Did it come from the ears? Did it come from the back of the head? Where did these apparatus for breathing and communication come from that attached to their nose and their mouth? Where did that come from? Both. Came from the ears, came around to the mouth and nose, and also some came from the back of the head. So I did a little, AI rendition of it. It's kind of creepy. Oh my goodness, right? But it's just different. It's not, we shouldn't be afraid of things, but it does look a little bit intimidating, doesn't it? We don't like things in our mouth and things that look different. And yeah, this is probably, I don't know, I would think this is one of those PLFs, which we're going to get to that next. But that's pretty creepy, huh? That's what Emery said he saw. It kind of like this. Like I said, this is just an AI rendering that I did by description, but it, kind of gives you the idea that it comes from the ears and the back of the head and comes around to the front. It doesn't show it attaching to the nose, but he said that was the case many times. Pretty creepy, eh? Pretty creepy. Now, we'll move on to that later. Let's move on to that one later. That was a little early. Okay, we have the fact that, so Emery was another instrument that Emery used to work on these tissues and beings and bodies was a harmonic scalpel. A harmonic scalpel. Or it could also be called a psionic scalpel. A harmonic or a psionic scalpel. And what when you think about it, this when they say harmonics and psionics, you're talking about cutting tissue with something you can't really see. I mean, it's probably got an encasement that emits a wave of harmonics or a wave of psionics, and it cuts the tissue. And maybe that was what was recommended for these particular alien tissues, because I mean, they probably had better luck with that. Maybe perhaps just a regular scalpel you couldn't even cut it. Maybe you would just kind of go through it. Or maybe It would cause it to purge. We would say bleed, but if it's a gel, and a harmonic or a sonic scalpel might cauterize as it cuts through, which cauterize means it just stops for us, bleeding, but maybe it would stop, kind of burn off the openings to where it wouldn't drip. I know it's crazy stuff. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. Very interesting, to say the least. So handling this fluid like tissue, he had to be very careful. Very, very careful. I imagine if he wasn't careful enough, they would say, you're out of here. So, we got Michelle DePaul here, and we got Tiffany. Hi. Cool, cool, guys. Good to see you. And so talking after hours. Let's move on. Let's move on to how Emery, now we're going to start to get to the clones. The clones is one of the big topics here in episode 3. There's 2 kinds of clones. After listening to this episode, I didn't know that. I didn't know that there were 2 kinds of clones. Yeah, there's this thing called PLFs. You ever heard of it? I think that's question number 4. Program life forms. Okay. So program life forms, Emery gives it a description of program life forms. And what it is, that's what a PLF is. We have PLFs and then we have PLFCs. We have program life forms, and then we have programmed life form clones. Okay. Now, I thought I was confused. This is why this episode was good for me, because I did not realize that there were 2 types of clones. There are clones that are programmable, that they actually program the memories and thoughts and such into these beings because they're programmed for specific jobs, like maybe to be a clone for the president, so that the president's not in jeopardy when they need to go somewhere or do something. They send a clone. And I mean, you've seen some of these where everybody's like, that's a clone. Starting to believe it, probably is a clone. Okay, so that's clone number 1. They have clones also that they can take your DNA and make an exact replica of you. They can totally replicate your memories, your experiences, your everything that you've been through. They can they can make you, basically put you in a vat and regrow you if necessary, Emery says. And that's pretty incredible. Actually regrow you. And it's nice to know, because, we're all going to want to, hop into a fresh new body. I wouldn't want to go all the way back. I wouldn't want to go all the way back to my early beginnings, but I'll say 30 maybe. 30 would be good. Make me a 30-year-old body, right? I'll put my heart in right now. 30. For real. Tiffany says, for real. Oh, Michelle, it's so good to see you. Yeah, I believe it too, guys. It's nuts. Now, these entities, some of these entities that Emery worked on that had full bodies, they had many times, they had a tube running from their esophagus down out through, well, maybe not out through their anus, but to their anus. Technical terms here, people. So yeah, these tubes were a thing, and they were recurring. So it was a common thing. And these tubes did not have food going through them. There was no food. No food. But they held the place of something. Emery believes that there was something that went through those tubes, because why would it be there? Now, Here's the interesting thing. He thinks it might have had something to do with their energy. Maybe something went through there that he believes connected them with the energy of the earth somehow. The some of these beings, see, the reason why we're talking about the alien beings and the clones is because it's a lot of it is related, because you got ET clones and you've got regular ETs, because these scientists who are working on these beings that Emery is giving sample tissues to, they're trying to figure out, A, what were the what are they up to? What are they doing? Which what they're doing is he believes that they're creating clones of themselves. They're creating clones of themselves so that they can possibly crash themselves on purpose here so that they can be give us a little boost in our technology. Like, I've heard that many times, that they've just crashed their vehicles on purpose because, come on, they should be able to not crash, you would think. So you would think, well, maybe they're doing it on purpose to help us. So these beings, Emery thinks they're making clones of themselves, because some of these clones last maybe a week. Mhm. And the scientists had to find out the hard way that they were even clones. And they found out. They went to go embalm them and put them in alcohol and formaldehyde, and they dissolved into nothing. So they had to learn new techniques. They learned to preserve them with water and plasma. So these scientists that we have, not only are they trying to figure out what these ET are doing here, they're trying to figure out what they're made of. Can we back engineer them and their bodies and learn from them? I mean, can you imagine? They have anti-aging technology now. So this is probably from the ET. I can't imagine how we would have gotten it without the help from them. Yeah, so this it just goes on. There's more. You really, if you have not gotten onto Gaia and subscribed so that you can watch these episodes, you are really missing out. It's addicting. It really is addicting. It's why I do this show. It's mind boggling. And I like to be on the cutting edge of new information and new technology. So yeah, I'm there, totally there. I want to know what my kids are going to see. I want to know what my future, mine and my husband's future is going to be. Are we going to have, already we're having a terrific time with phones and all this great technology, but what's it going to be like the kids when they're our age? Yeah. Yeah. So it's really amazing stuff. But the reason Emery thought that maybe these tubes that went from the esophagus to the anus was because of some sort of way for them to have energy, because he did not understand that. How could they have energy? Because here was the kicker. These specimens, these particular aliens, did not have mitochondria. There's a question for you. What is mitochondria? Mhm. All right. I looked it up online. I have a nice, concise answer. I had an answer that was like a mile long, and then I had to get it, uh, you know, concise. So here we go. Mitochondria are tiny parts inside your cells that act like batteries. Mhm. They take in food and oxygen and turn it into energy your body can use to move, think, and grow. That's what mitochondria is. They're your cells' energy makers. Okay, so these beings did not have mitochondria. So where are they getting their energy? Where is it coming from? So Emery was thinking maybe it's coming from these tubes somehow. And these tubes are gathering energy from the earth and harnessing it and using it for up to maybe a week or a year, he said, and maybe even indefinitely. We just don't know. But these tubes were a thing. Um, so yeah, the another thing that Emery thinks the reason that they're doing these um, clonings is because they are trying to uh, mix their cells with ours to create hybrids. Now, are they trying to, he said, are they trying to preserve our DNA at this stage that it's at? Is that what they're trying to do? He believes they're trying to help, not, they don't need us. They don't need us for anything. So why would they be doing anything with us? They don't need us. They really don't. Why would they be doing all of these things if they don't need us? So one can conclude, like Emery did, that they're trying to help. They're trying to preserve our DNA for maybe some future issue that humanity is going to face, unfortunately. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're good. I just feel that. I could be wrong, but we want to stay positive, right? So another thing that these scientists could be making these clones for is so that they can create more. Bet you pegged that one. You know, can you imagine if you could create a bunch of beings that had no, if they were programmed life forms, they had no memories, and you programmed them? Oh, the implications, right? So, here's just an idea. Here's a bunch of clone soldiers. Wow, right? That would be something. Uh, it would be an advantage. You would have an advantage. And you wouldn't ever run out of soldiers. And you wouldn't have to worry about your family going to the front lines. But the thing is, how fast can you make these clones? And how fast can the other side make them? So it's a race. It's a race to see who can make clones first, probably, I'm guessing. So, um, yeah. Oh, I know what I didn't do. I didn't send out. Let me do something here. I'm copying this and I am going to send it to, I wonder if I can put it in the chat here. I'm going to try to put something in the chat here for you guys. It's fun seeing everybody in the chat. Okay, let's see. I don't want to hide the chat overlay. So I got this copied. Hang on, guys. Bear with me here. I'm trying to figure out where I can say something in the chat. Simple as that, people. Hey, it's my third episode. I'm not seeing anywhere where I can put something in the chat, like even a hello, goodbye, yes, no, maybe so. So let's see here. I did copy that, right? I did. Copied the linky. And so I'm going to go here real quick. Can you guys see me? I hope so. Just bear with me for just a second because I'm going to get this up in the chat for everybody. And let's see if I can find. Hang on. Hang in there with me. There we go. Perfect. I don't know if you guys could see me for that moment, but sometimes things happen that are important that a podcast host needs to take care of. And I took care of it. Great. So, where were we? We were back at, we want to wrap it up a little bit and get some people into the chat, into the show, from the chat into the show. Just so we're moving along pretty good here. So let me just kind of wrap this up real quick here. Okay, it's very difficult to do that because episode 3 is just chock full of information. You need to go. You need to go. You need to join Gaia. You need to subscribe. And you can subscribe to Gaia on Emery's page at emerysmith.co and sign up for Gaia, watch these episodes and be mind blown, and then come on my podcast and we'll talk about it. That's what it's all about. That's what we're trying to do here. So let me just kind of do last couple things and we'll get you guys in the chat that want to come on. Okay. I'm so excited to see you all. So we got, so they're trying to preserve us, maybe, possibly. Emery was saying that our DNA has every body part in it. So he says that given the right circumstances, he could take our DNA and put it in a vat of solution and regrow limbs. If you have a missing limb, they have all of this, guys. They have this technology now, but they're not giving it out yet. And there was the question of depopulation. Now, there's a lot of people that rule the world that want the world to stay depopulated. So yeah, there's the question of depopulation. And so yeah, that's something that David Wilcock brought up to Emery. So they touch on that. Go check it out. So yeah, your DNA is a hard drive. You're still you. If he can, get a hold of your DNA and reproduce you, you're still you. You have your consciousness and your memories. That was one of our questions. They are also making fake extraterrestrials. Emery believes they're making fake extraterrestrials for an agenda, making them look mean and scary, and yeah, it's not good all the way around. But so they're making, not only are they cloning people, but they're cloning extraterrestrials, so they look like humans. Looks like Patrick wants to come in. Let's see. So yeah, let's see what's up with Patrick. You say you're having issues, just click on the link. Let me go big here. So we got somebody that's going to come in. We have Patrick Giggey wants to come in to the chat and talk. And so I'm trying to help him. This is what we're doing is we're taking calls in the chat and having people get on the show. And I sent Patrick a link. Can you tell me what your issues are, Patrick? So yeah, we're troubleshooting all this because we're kind of just starting out. One of these days, this is all going to be a smooth process here. So just go ahead and explain what issues you're having, Patrick. So I'll give you a little intro into Patrick. He was wanting to get on the show. He's got some Bigfoot connections. And I sent you the link in Messenger, Patrick Giggey. I sent you the link in Messenger. So I can do it again. I just would love to put the link in the chat. And I'm new to this. Oh, look at that. Look at that. What do you see this? Okay, there's the link. I found where to put it. There was this one little clicky button. When I'm looking at you guys in the chat, I'm looking at an overlay. So the overlay is just you guys. And when I went and clicked on the chat over here on the right, It showed the real chat, so I was able to give you the link. Try clicking on that. In the meantime, let's look over some of these messages. Ray Kleiner. They're cloning ETs now to look like humans. That's what Emery says in episode 3. He says that they're doing it, they have an agenda to do that. So yeah, Michelle says that maybe that his browser's not working to support it. Well, he can click on it in the chat maybe, or copy and paste it from the chat. Well done, says Tiffany. Oh, Ray, what is your website? What is your page again? I was going to say it and I can't think of it. And Amber, hi Amber. Amber, it's good to see you. I'm going to put somebody's message up. Wonderful to stumble here from Amber. Hey Amber, good to see you. I sure hope we get Patrick on the show. And Michelle says hello. Oh, Cosmic Bunker. He added a T there. I gotcha. I got your back. Oh, that was too me. Yeah, Cosmic Bunker is Ray Kleiner's page. Check it out. Yeah. They're friends of ours. He's friends of ours. And as well as Ramblers of the Round Table. It's another great page you need to check out. Ray, he's got the sunglasses, the cool sunglasses face. Okay, so let's see. I posted, if anybody would like to join the show, if you click on the link that I sent now, you will show up in the green room and I can invite you in. Does anybody want to come on the show and talk with me about the episode 3? Clones and programmable life forms? I can just chill out and wait. I'll wait for you. One of these days, this is going to be a smooth process. Cosmic Bunker. Okay, so here's Ray's page. The little glasses are really cute. Yeah. Cosmic Bunker, check it out. Michelle says she wants to go back to being 28. 28. I'm 28. Hey man, I wouldn't mind being 28. I just I want it to be pre-done. I don't want to have to do it all over again. Right? Tiffany says, for real. Yeah, programmable life forms. Did I go over all of the questions? Let's just recap those questions until Patrick can get on. I downloaded some of his pictures. But let's recap these questions that are about season 1, episode 3, clones and programmable life forms, okay? So question number 1 was, what type of food was used to describe an entity in this episode? And that was Jello. That was that entity that was between shape-shifting. And Emery believed it was interdimensional and it was shape-shifting. And it was in the process of shifting to a different shape. And that was its in-between stage. Okay, so that was question number 1. Let's go to question number 2. Question number 2 was, what happened to technicians within this compartmentalized secret program to prevent them from being credible if they chose to break their non-disclosure agreement? What would happen? They would be given disinformation tissue. On the happenstance that some of them decided that they would, talk, they would be given disinformation. They did tactics. Emery said they did tactics like that all the time. They would try to, they'd even tease them with things, confuse them. They would have a clone of a reptilian walking down the hall. And Emery doesn't know if it's sentient or real or a clone or what, but he thinks that they kind of did that on purpose so that he could see it. And, it's got to be terrifying. It's got to be terrifying. Um, you want to come on? Oh, good, Ray. That would be so great. I would love that. Come on. Click on the link. Ray Kleiner, I'll put it on. Let's see. Ray Kleiner says, hold on, Kim. We'll share live on page and chat. So all you got to do is click on the link that I posted. Let me scoot down here a little bit. Hold on, Kim. Okay, there we go. Hold on, Kim. We'll share live on page and chat. I'm looking forward to it. Just do it to it. I don't see you in the green room. If I see you in the green room, I'll let you in. I hope it's working. Okay, let's move on to question numero 30. Question numero 30. What did the controls that Emery saw on these alien ships have to do with helmets and special chairs? Not a thing. Nothing. Nada de nada. There were no helmets. There were no special chairs, gears, levers, pulleys, push buttons. Nothing like that. So Emery would get a chuckle whenever he saw an image that somebody drew up of the inside of a spaceship that had gadgetry and things of that nature, because none of it. No, none of that. Kind of fun, huh? Okay, so now we have question number 4. Did the apparatus that Emery assumed were for breathing and communication come from the back of A, the neck, B, the ears, or C, the neck, or the head, rather, the head? So the back of the head, the ears, or the neck? Where did this apparatus come from? Remember, I showed you the picture where it came from somewhere, and it connected to the mouth and the nose. This actually came from both the back of the head and the ears. So the little thing come out, come around, and attach to their mouth and their nose. Can you imagine seeing that? That would be freaky, wouldn't it? It would be freaky, very freaky. Okay, so we have question number 5. Why did Emery say he believed the reason was that we could not understand ET's ways and scientists? Well, we talked about that. It's because the technology is not invented yet. There's no way we can comprehend it. Not until it's invented can we comprehend it. Question number 6. Emery, describe Emery's explanation of what PLFs are. Programmed life forms. They are clones designed for specific jobs, like to be a clone for the president. And what was so just amazing to me was that if they wanted, they could program the clone to the point where they even knew that they were being cloned to be. They knew what their job was. They knew that they were they knew that they were a clone. So to me, I'm thinking, if somebody has consciousness enough to work it out that they're a clone, do they have feelings about that? Because, I mean, why would you even have the gift of knowing if you didn't have the emotions to feel it? It's just, you could go down the rabbit hole, right? Let's see what these questions are here in the chat, what some more questions are, and then we'll get to the very last question here. Tiffany says, Amber asks, where are these questions posted? I said them in a video on Thursday. Okay, let's see if we can't get this going here. Okay. I think that couldn't have been a fake alien though. What thing, Tiffany? What thing could have been a fake alien? Oh yeah, the the Jello guy. Yeah, he could have been fake. Oh, it said that Trump died years ago. Oh, really? Hmm. Well, the Simpsons are just blowing my mind, but that could be all fake too. So where are you, Ray? I thought you were going to click on the link and come on with me. Anybody want to come on and talk with me? Anybody? Tiffany, the saw, the thing saw, yeah. So we want to talk about Bigfoot. Anybody know anything? Because we were gonna, Patrick was gonna come on and talk about Bigfoot. Let's do the last question now before we do that. The last question is: Clones retain the memories of their? Oh, do clones retain the memories of their donors? In some cases, they do. Programmed ones don't, if they program them not to, and then the ones that are made from DNA do retain their memories. Yeah. Okay, so switching gears, we were going to talk about Bigfoot. Tyler Roberts was going to come on, but he couldn't come on today, and so hopefully we'll have him on at another time, another day. And but I still want to talk a little bit about Bigfoot because that was what he wanted to talk about, and so did Patrick. I'll be glad when all these technical issues are taken care of. I don't know why nobody can get on. Is anybody else tried to get on by clicking on the link? I guess Ray's not going to come on. One of these days, this is going to be so full of people like waiting in line to get on the show to tell their story. Where are all these people that just are dying to tell their story? I want to feature them on the show. And one of them is Patrick, but he's having technical difficulties, and that's just such a shame. Okay, so to get everybody ready for when we do talk about Bigfoot, I will share my story. I I I don't have a particular experience myself with Bigfoot, but I have a story from a very close friend of mine who ran into what he believes was Bigfoot when he was little. This happened one day when he and his friends, I think there was like 5 of them, they were running in the woods playing and having a jolly old time. They were playing and just, they were running. And then one of them, I guess they're kind of going uphill. It was at night, the moon was out, and they saw a big creature standing at the top, looking down at them, hulking down. What are you doing here? Kind of thing. They're very territorial, I notice. So the crazy thing is they're also supernatural. They're purported to be supernatural. These kids were terrified, and my friend said he was frozen. He could not move. I don't know if he was frozen from fear, which I've had before. I've been frozen in fear before myself. That's a whole other story. Remind me, I'll tell you. But these kids were so frightened that they were frozen, and then one of them dropped down on one of his knees and took his pocket knife out and started stabbing himself in the thigh. And my friend said he could not understand why he was doing that, and he flipped out, and it broke him out of his frozen state, and he took off running. They all took off running, except for the boy that was hurting himself. One has to wonder why would a little boy start doing that. So everybody that hears the story, that I tell the story, thinks that it was the Bigfoot that made him do it. And maybe it was, but I have a hard time believing that these guys are mean, or I don't know. I just have a hard time with it, believing that the Bigfoot would cause that child to do that. It could be that that was a form of dealing with such a terrifying sight, and that and the boy was just like, I don't know, out of his mind, in shock, and just like, am I like pinching yourself? I have no idea. But that's my Bigfoot story, and I'm sticking to it. It's not my own, but as Emery says, it's secondhand information. I mean, I hear that these Bigfoot they have a smell to them, and I have a hypothesis as to why. Actually, I have two hypotheses as to why Bigfoot smells not good to us. Okay? Hypothesis number one: they only smell bad to us because they are from someplace else. So we have different sensory mechanisms that record things differently than from where they're from. I mean, maybe they're interdimensional. I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why they smell. And my other hypothesis is maybe we have the same sensory smells, and that's not it doing it at all, but that they have a purpose to thwart us, to make us go away, maybe even warn us that they're there, like a skunk would do. A skunk would spray the air to keep you away. So maybe that's why they smell, because they are trying to keep us away. They don't want us around. They're very territorial. I remember some guy, like, was it 7 years ago? I was following him, and then one day he was just gone. I couldn't find his posts or his videos or anything. And he was actually having a Bigfoot that would show up in his backyard, and the Bigfoot was actually carrying on a relationship with him somewhat, like hiding from him, like 8 feet away behind the wood pile, and then going in circles. Uh, this Bigfoot was really cute, really cute. So, wow, Amber, you're awesome. I wonder why that would be. I wonder why that would be. You're getting feedback. Anybody else concur? Well, that's not good. Patrick has said he's not doing good on his end. Let's find out why. My alarm's going off again. Okay, so let's find out why Patrick is having a difficult time. Why? I don't type. Why are you having difficulty, Patrick? Okay, hopefully I spelled all that right. Why are you having difficulty, Patrick? Because maybe we can troubleshoot it. Oh, that's what this is all about. When I clicked to come on, it made 2 windows which gave feedback. Amber, I'm so glad you're trying and troubleshooting this with me. Do you want to hear my Bigfoot on the mountaintop story? Yes, I want to hear it. Well, she says she tried to click on the link, and mind you, have patience. This is my 3rd video where we need to troubleshoot these problems and figure out why they're happening, so bear with us. Amber says that she tried to click on the link. She's in a private message with me, which is really cool. She says it gave her 2 windows, which gave her feedback. Okay, try clicking just once. Don't double click on the link, Amber. Let's try this again. Okay? I do that all the time. I double click on everything and it's like, oh, I did it today. I was trying to upload pictures and I double clicked on the picture and it minimized my page, minimizing my window for my pictures on my computer. I did it like 3 times. Finally, I was like, unlearned the behavior and only clicked once. Yes. Okay. And now I'm here, but oh, you are. There you are. Okay, you made it in, but you're black. Why are you black? I'm gonna let you in. You made it.
Hello. Yes, I am black because I'm sitting in my tornado. Hello, Kim.
Hi. So
Hey.
you choose to be incognito?
Well, yes. I don't want you to see my mess or
No
me.
worries.
Okay,
I
cool.
want to hear your Bigfoot story, and I'm
All
sure
right.
everybody else does
Well,
too.
I have more than one, but this is the one I'm going to share. And so I don't remember what year it was, but I was in my 20s, and my son and I had gone to a relative's house, which was located on the mountaintop that's sitting there right there in I don't know, it's freaking Longsport or Longsfellow, or it's over there. You can see Mount Hood. It's in Washington State on the west side of the state, down very close to Portland. And I think the mountain
Okay.
you can see there is Hood. You can see like I don't know, a couple of mountains there, but it there was just like this large hill, and at the top of the hill, so she was staying there in a cabin with her boyfriend who like took care of it was a Christmas tree farm up there on the top of this hill, which is located above town, it kind of
Yeah.
remotely, and that's where people would travel and they'd go and they cut their Christmas trees down. It was a farm on the top of a hill, and I can look it up. But it's on the Washington side of the lower portion of the state by Oregon.
Take
Kind of
notice,
on
all
the
you Washington people.
yeah. I don't. I got. I don't want to talk about that, but sorry. You can tell I'm traumatized by the state. Anyways, so I was up there, and it's back when I smoked, and I smoked cigarettes for 30 years, and haven't quit. I've been quit now for like 7, but so I was outside smoking, and just I had the tree drops to the back of me, and I feel and smell at the same time, and I am I'm gifted in my own ways. Like some of us are very sensitized, and I'm sensitized, right? Okay, not to everything, but I'm sensitized to that, and I smelled it, and I it was I was aware that there was a force behind me, and there was a stench, and I didn't see a Bigfoot. I smelled and I was aware that there was a Bigfoot there. I was just aware, every ounce of my being was like, oh shit, I hope he's not gonna hurt me, and I was just aware. And so I scuttlebutted, I'm like, to my sent my own, I gotta go, whatever, hi, how you doing, leave me alone please, or whatever. I just sent out a I'm not a threat, and I hope you're not gonna hurt me vibe. But I was aware that he was there. And so I go back into this house, which is it's like a manufactured home. It's really nice. This guy ran the restaurant down at the bottom of the hill. It was like a fine dining restaurant. He was the like the owner slash debutante or whatever you would call the fancy person there. But he was alcoholic, really bad alcoholic, and she ended up leaving him very shortly afterwards. Anyways, I spent the night there. I think it was my birthday, or it was Easter or something. I had duck. I had my first duck with cherry sauce. Anyways, and so there was a spare room that I slept. It was on the floor, and it didn't have curtains. And in the night, I was just aware that there was something looking in at me. I just felt it. But the smell, it was like um, really sweet and really disgusting, and kind of rancid all at once. And it was just I just, I just knew. And I think Bigfoot are great. And hopefully I didn't, ruin his life, because now it's out there where he's located. But, hey,
Oh well,
right. Well, yeah, yeah.
they're transient.
Yeah,
I'm glad you're.
exactly. And you can just,
Maybe not.
he can just pop back into his home world, anytime he wants to, I'm sure,
Right.
and but they have a home world. But
Well, what an amazing story. That's so great that you had that experience and you came on here to share it. It just makes me just so happy. I mean, uh it just everybody needs to know that they exist, you know?
yeah. Well, I
And
didn't.
you were very brave to stay the night.
Well, what choice? I mean, I had driven all the way down from the Puget Sound, so it was a few hours drive. Um, and I was there with my son for the first time, seeing this relative that was there, and yeah, I couldn't. I didn't have anywhere to go. I'm not independently wealthy, and it's like I was going to go, home. Yeah, poor.
And
I'm
you were
kind of
by yourself? Oh,
Yeah, I've always been by myself. I was kind of mostly always been by myself, and I had kind of poor vision, so I'm not going to drive at night, um, with my kid because things get blurry or something. But
well, Amber, thank you so much for coming on. I guess I better let the next Bigfoot person experiencer come on, huh?
all right, see ya. Thank you.
You're awesome. Thank you so much. Come
Love you,
on again,
Kim.
okay?
Okay, will do.
Okay,
How do I get out of here?
Amber. All right, we'll see you in the chat.
All right, bye.
Bye. Okay. Patrick, you made it on.
Hello, how
Hey
you doing?
there. I'm doing great.
Yeah,
It's good to see you.
my kid's the whiz kid. They figure it out.
I do that all the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
give it to
it's
the
great
kid,
to use
right?
kids. Yeah, because they're in school for this stuff. Mhm. So you've had, let me give you everybody, a little bit of background on Patrick. He has some Bigfoot experiences that he wants to share with us, and he sent me some photos. So we've got some pictures to show everyone that you took, and like one or two of them, I can't quite figure out what they are. So I'm sure you've got an explanation for those.
I
Is there
most
anything
certainly
you want to
do.
start with? You want to just start with telling us about you and your experiences, and then tell me what photo to pull up, and I'll pull it up. Let's just.
All right. The first dad got my dad got me into the phenomenon of watching In Search of. You know that show?
I love that
That
show.
Leonard Nimoy that played Spot. Yeah.
Nimoy,
So I was like 7 or 8 years
loved it.
old. It was, yeah, it was back in the '70s, and
I
then I watched
remember it.
that, and then that died out. Yeah. Then I watched the Ancient Aliens. Got into that. Then I seen the show Finding Bigfoot in 2015 in the
Okay,
teachers'
yeah.
lounge. I was cleaning at a school. Yeah, so that sparked it back up. And then I seen he interacts with a Sasquatch named Nefertia and his family up in Ontario, Canada. So I've been following him. And one day, it was a couple months later, I was bored. I haven't got into watching Sasquatch, and I went on there and I seen a video called Sasquatch Speaks, and it's a YouTube by Hal Mendick, and he there are Sasquatchers in there. These people are ambassadors for the Sasquatch and the Star people. So I found it fascinating, and I
Ambassadors.
watched
Wait,
it
wait,
three
wait. Slow
times.
down 1 second. Ambassadors. Say that one more time. The Sasquatch are ambassadors for who?
Yeah, people like us are psychic mediums and all that. They're ambassadors for the Sasquatch. Like Sunbow, who's the
Is that what
author
you are?
of. I'm more of a mentor because Okiono, through a channeling session, I was talking to this guy out. Okiono, he's a male Sasquatch, and he said, "I'm not an ambassador, but I will talk about him." I'm more of a mentor.
That is so cool. I mean, I'm just thrilled to talk with somebody that is actually in communication with a Sasquatch.
Yeah, I could feel their energy, so I pretty much feel their personality. Uh, Also, I could see them, so I see them as a living apparition because they're interdimensional beings. So they nod their head yes or no. So I do that.
I have to
I get
ask you
that as
about the
well.
smell. What about the smell?
Yeah.
What is that from?
The male, the skunky smell is the males.
Peppermint? Oh, we lost him. He'll be back. Let's show you a picture. Now, Patrick, he must live by these Bigfoot. Here's a picture of something that he captured from them that they've created. Now, isn't that interesting? That is a picture of a Bigfoot's creation. I'm sure he's going to say that. Okay, he's coming back. We'll let him do that. Explain it. Hey, you're back.
Yeah, that's a structure there back here in the woods here.
So now, what do you think? Why are they making that?
I watched recently on the Pork and Bean show that it's a way of them communicating to us that they're present.
And is that your place? Is he telling that to you? Who's he communicating that to?
Barbara Lindsay was channeling the Sasquatch. On the Pork and Bean show. Did you hear about the Pork and Bean show with Brian Blaine and Michael Harrell? They're in
No, but I
British Columbia, Canada.
Uh-huh.
They got their own thing going on up there in Canada.
Well, here's another one.
That's the very first one I ever found back in 2019, and that tree's dead and gone by now.
So he's trying to communicate with you by doing this, by letting you know he's there.
I know they're present. There's three things that I figured out with this: that they're present, represents creativity and their strength. But some of these trees I find are 6 inches in diameter and are snapped.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very strong.
I heard that there's it's probably the male that's the strongest because they probably have testosterone. I'm thinking because they sure look like it, but they have children and they have mates and
Yeah,
all of that, huh?
but and the clan, the females call the shots. They got to say of what's going on. So the males.
Oh, now
Yeah,
that makes sense. Now,
yeah,
but
it
they're
does.
interdimensional.
Huh?
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
But they're interdimensional, right?
yeah, yes.
So what are they doing here?
They were seeded here 200 million years ago by the Star People. So they look at the Star People as their elders. We're a branch off from the Sasquatch because of the Anunnaki. So that's because the Anunnaki came to Earth to mine ore, gold for their own planet to balance out their atmosphere, like what we're really should be doing instead of putting those chemtrails up. So they introduced their DNA to the hominid that was currently here, which was the Sasquatch, but they didn't do it to all of them. So what we know as Sasquatch today, they're interdimensional. If the Anunnaki never did that, we'd all be Sasquatch today.
That's what, that's the first time I've heard of that theory. I heard that everybody said that we came from primates, but not Sasquatch. I've not heard that.
Yeah, I learned that from
So
Bashar. Daryl Anka, he channels this being called Bashar. He's been doing it for over
I
40 years.
love him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. So let me pull up one of your other photos here. I love that. Now,
That's
who drew that?
Sue Walker. She's the Sasquatch came to her home and at their request wanted them to instead of these monsters depict them as. But that's Yanessa,
Oh,
and I found out through a meeting she was with me because Yanessa told her to tell that she's with me, and she's my Sasquatch mother for when I was a Sasquatch in a past life. Her name's Yanessa.
Well, I need to talk to you about this. Now,
Yeah,
UNESA, let me just recap this. UNESA is your mother
yeah,
Sasquatch from when
yeah,
you were a Sasquatch. So that would
yes,
mean that that would mean that you had reincarnated as a human, and she's still living in the same state she was when she lost you as her child. In other
yes.
words, she's still who she is in that physical form when she lost you. Do you know how old you were when you passed as her
No, I
child?
don't. I don't know that, and I don't even know how I passed. But I know Yanessa is ancient.
You know Unessa is what?
Ancient. That's how old she is. So it's not a really a correct.
Oh,
No,
ancient. Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah, they don't age. They don't age. What a beautiful creature. Person,
yeah,
I should say, right? Is
yeah.
that the
And
proper
she
Go ahead.
gifted me her hair at the Sasquatch family reunion. I went out there in 2020 because that's where I found out about the Sasquatch too. Sasquatch Speaks, and yeah, check it out. It's called Sasquatch Oracle, and there's all kinds of videos on there. Ambassadors bringing the message to humanity from the from the Sasquatch and star people, even Jesus.
Is what? There?
On the videos on the YouTube channel.
Uh-huh. Okay, great. I love that. I love Jesus. Yeah, I love all of that. So definitely, what was the website again?
Sasquatch Oracle.
Okay, Sasquatch Oracle. That's
That's
perfect.
the YouTube channel. And if you want the website, it's www.sasquatchfamilyreunion.com.
Okay, well, everybody's got that information now. It's probably going to be shared a lot. I have another picture here. Moving on. Let's go to this one. This one I couldn't make out what it is.
Probably the portal. Oh no, that's I took a picture up in the tree, and then you take your finger, I zoom it in, then I screenshot it again, and that's what I got.
Now, is there two? Well, it looks like there might even be. Oh, wait. Okay. Huh.
It was,
Sometimes I think I see pareidolia going on, and then other times I think I see like two Bigfoot.
looks like a cat being or something. Looks like a cat, the bottom one.
Uh-huh. So this is just a random photo from the forest. That's just crazy, huh?
Yeah,
Wow. And then you also sent this photo. Is that you?
yep, that's me. I'm holding the hair that was gifted.
Oh
The
my
blonde
god.
the blonde hair is from a female Sasquatch. Her name is Whoopaton, and she's not from this
Wow.
planet either. She's a galactic Sasquatch.
Wow.
And hopefully, I get a portrait of Sue Walker does her portrait this year. I'd like to have
So
that.
you want to get a portrait of this particular being? The hair that
Yeah,
you have in your hand?
yeah. I seen her.
Wow.
She dematerialized and then vanished. She was like 15 feet tall. She was slender. She wasn't bulky, and she had this beautiful blonde hair. But
Mhm.
I seen this. So I caught in a little bit of her face. Her skin is jet black.
Wow.
Yeah.
But her hair is blonde.
Oh yeah, yeah.
She must be just strikingly beautiful. What's in the
It is.
bag?
That's
What do you have in the
Yanessa's.
bag?
That's Yanessa's hair.
Oh, that's in the bag?
Yeah.
Oh, cause yeah, I'd have to zoom in
That's the
on
first
that.
one I found. I was on the roadside, and I picked it up and I looked up at the sky during the day. I could see the Sasquatch really good. Uh,
Wow.
against the skyline, and I said, "Oh, is this hair from you guys?" But I said, "See, that's how I communicate with them. I just think about what I'm going to say to them. They read your mind. That's what the Sasquatch could do. They could read your mind. So that's how I talk to them most of the time." And he nodded
That
nodded
is
their head nodded their head yes. I said, "Oh, awesome!" And I took her back to the camp to show everybody. I was so excited. And I showed Garrett Duncan. He's a shaman there. And he can communicate with the Sasquatch really good. And he said, "Oh, you got the Sasquatch. This from your Sasquatch mummy."
I love it. I love it. That
Yeah,
is
yeah.
so cool. Well, you're living the life. That what an exciting day-to-day life you have. I mean,
Oh
just
yeah,
to know that you
I feel more at
what
peace.
I love that.
I don't even
What
watch
do
the
they
news.
have they told you what they feel about humans? Do they like us or dislike us or just like
Uncon-
neutral?
Unconditional love.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so sweet. I just love that. That, how could anybody be afraid of them when they're unconditionally loving and precious that they are, and we're all afraid of everything that's different.
Yeah, I kept it a secret. It was like 2 months. I kept it a secret. And until I met a family of three, I was standing on the pool deck, and one just walked to the tree, but he was halfway through the tree and he stopped. And I telepathed to him and said, "Oh, you can come closer if you want." So he walked right up to the pool deck. He was like 5 feet from me, but there was another one following behind him, and I wasn't focused on the individual. It ended up being a female behind him, and the female, Sue said that she's the leader of the group, and she was holding an infant. And both their eyes were glowing white like LED light, and the infant's
Mhm,
eyes were red.
mhm.
And the infant was a female. Sue Walker told me,
Well,
and
that's
Sue
kind of
Walker,
the way things. That's the way things are around here in my household. My husband calls me his manager, so
yeah, Sue
we're
Walker,
just waiting for the rest of the world to catch up to that.
she yep, she helps out a group of ETs called the Ponte. They have an information station in the mountains of Sandia in New Mexico, and
Wow.
Commander Tuckham said, "You have a thing called social media. Uh, would it be okay for us to be permitted to open up a Twitter account?" And they opened up a Twitter account for him.
What?
And yeah, it's called at
I
Sandia
gotta write
Wisdom.
this down. What's their Twitter account? Give me my pen.
At
What's their Twitter
at
account?
Sandia Wisdom. At Sandia
At
Wisdom.
Sandia what?
At Sandia Wisdom.
Wisdom? Wisdom?
Wisdom. Yep. Yep.
Oh my God, I love it. I really love it. That's awesome. Well, what else you have to tell me?
Oh, what about the other pictures you got?
Let's see.
Did you put?
I
Did you
don't.
bring
I
up the
think I
portal
got.
one?
Uh-uh. I don't know that I got. Oh, that's the one I didn't know what it was. Okay, here we come. It's coming. So, are you there?
Yeah, I'm
Is
here.
that a portal? Is that a portal?
Yep. Yep. That's a portal. You see the face down there in the bottom right corner?
Bottom right corner. Oh, with the
There's
two
two eyes.
slanted up eyes.
Yep.
Are the eyes slanted upward? Oh gosh, you got to tell us what's
Yep.
going on here. How did you do that?
They put it on my iPad. I was outside at night, and I heard these footsteps going through the woods. I didn't see that because it was dark. And then I checked my iPad when I went in the house, and that popped up on.
Whoa. And is that, do you think that's them coming through, or what do you think the message is there?
No, I just
Just
showed
showing
Garrett.
you?
Doctor said it's a portal. Yeah.
Wow. Like they're sharing with you things that you don't utilize on a daily basis and kind of showing you what you're missing out
Right.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
2019
definitely see that.
is when they did a lot of stuff. I went
2009.
in my bedroom.
I'll be back. Uh, I love doing this calling. Uh, Already we've heard two amazing stories from people that are just normal like you and me, and they're out there living the real world stuff. And so it's just thinking breaking up and not we shall see on the replay. Okay, let's go back to Patrick. You there? Ooh,
Yeah, I don't know why I get checked off here.
yeah, I don't know either. But so about how often do you think you have an interaction with a Bigfoot? Is there any sort of rhyme or reason? Is there any regularity?
Oh, probably. I pretty much accepted them in my life, because what Kwani Laps are right that they're guides. They said that's their purpose. They
Mm,
want to go out and connect with us. They look at us as their little brothers and sisters.
wow,
And who knows
that is
better than the Sasquatch? Because you don't get told the truth from politicians. So, and they've been here
so
for 200. They've been here for 200 million years, so they know what's going on.
right. They probably just can't believe it. But they got to view things on a totally different level than we could possibly understand.
Yeah, I think the thing I enjoy the most is when I sing to them. And lately, I've been singing a lot of the songs from Heart, the group Heart,
Yeah, I love
and
art.
they
Yes.
yeah, and I was watching it on TV one time, and I was getting energy from 'em. They felt sad because Ann Wilson was in a wheelchair and she battled cancer. So I got sadness from them. They're kind of emotion I got from them.
So they knew the frequency of the song that you were
Yeah, they
singing
watch TV with
transferred to the frequency of her. That's crazy.
yeah. While it was on TV, I was watching the video, so that's how they found out.
That's amazing. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
I did sign
um,
language. I did sign language with them. I wanted to know what they like better, Star Trek, the original series, or the Next Generation. And I raised my right hand for Captain Kirk, and they like Captain Kirk, I guess.
don't we all?
Yeah,
So yeah, they're privy to all of our television and media. I bet they don't like cell phones.
yeah,
They probably don't like the cell towers, you know?
I
They
don't
probably
know.
don't like all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you want to know a lot about it, it all came from Camus. And what happened was, I thought Camus was telling Sumbo what to write down so he could do this book. Now, Camus uploaded all the information to his in his mind. That's pretty amazing, and he was able
Whoa.
to write all three
Yeah.
books.
That is crazy. That is
Yeah,
nuts.
Sasquatch. It's on Amazon, and it's called Sasquatch: Message to Humanity with Conversations with Elder Camus.
Okay, got it. It's on the video. I don't know what point, but I'll find it. That's
Yeah,
so amazing.
and
So, uh,
I asked
what I
Sunbow.
want
I said, how do I get a better connection with the Sasquatch? She said, when you go into the forest, you speak directly to him, and that's what I did.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So, we're gonna go three ways, okay, Patrick? Amber's gonna come on.
Okay.
Hi, Amber.
Hi. I, I'm. Let me see if I can make my camera blurry without you seeing anything.
Okay.
I don't know that I can because this is not Zoom.
Well, we
Um.
see your video or your
Yeah.
something there. Your Vizio.
yeah. Darn it. I. I guess I wanted to text you, but Yeah, I have had another experience, um, but I was gonna type it to you first. So,
Okay.
you two go on and speak. You can't look at my space; it's really dirty. You two can go, really cluttered. You two speak, and I'm gonna try and figure out how to do my background, so I can
Okay. Do you
turn it
want
around.
me? Do you want me to keep you posted up here, or do you want me to take you
Yeah,
back
yeah.
off?
I'll just be quiet and I'll listen to you, and I'll chime in a second if it's all right.
Yeah, heck yeah. You're gonna type something in the chat though too, huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, cool. I'm really loving this. Love, love, love it. It kind of harkens back to Art Bell, Coast to Coast. I love having callers. I love you guys coming in the chat and getting on the podcast just willy-nilly random. I love it so much. So, but Patrick, what I was going to tell you is that I want you to think of all of the
That's very.
things that you could.
Oh, that's not.
Well, hello there.
Oh, that's really
I
nice.
Hi Amber. Patrick, I just want. Are you there, Patrick?
Yeah, I'm
Okay,
here.
yeah,
I just
it's really
want.
messy, but
I just want you to think back of. Hi Amber. I want you to think back of all of the things that when we are done here, that you'll say, "Darn, I should have said that. I should have told her that." Think of all that, okay?
Okay.
And maybe something will come up that you'll be able to tell us before we,
Well,
end it.
before, yeah, I'm just not sure how to preface it because it's really kind of crazy. It's not normal stuff. And I don't want to get in any trouble with,
Yeah.
you know,
What's
forces larger
what's
than me.
normal?
Walking through walls, into Bigfoot land.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Have you seen that?
Actually,
Have you done that? Have you
I
done
got
that?
one standing in the corner right now by my closet.
Oh, that's cool. I had one visiting me a bit ago and it kept doing this. And I was doing this and I'm feeling my lip and I have this, I'm like, what the hell? And I had like this thing going on and I'm like, what does this mean? Are you hungry? Are you telling me to shut up? What's going on here? And I put it in the chat and it dawned on me. I got this imagery back of me up on the, at the Christmas tree farm I mean, okay, I don't, it doesn't smell like skunk to me. I can see where people can see that, but my nose is so off the charts for a normal, person that, the smell is different than skunk. Skunk weed smells different than roadkill skunk, smells different
Right.
than a Bigfoot. And so so if you take, yeah, anyways, he was hungry, and my first thought is, oh, he's gonna rape me or something, right? Or I'm uncomfortable because I'm female and I'm aware that he's male. But he was hungry. I had duck. He was smelling duck, up there on, I don't know, Thanksgiving. It was Thanksgiving. Yeah. Anyways.
Did you give him some?
No, I'm sitting here now and that was the experience I just had was I had an experience. I put it in the chat. I'm thinking that somebody's trying to communicate something to me, and what does this mean? Because I don't know, sign language. And I just got feedback recently that what back then 20 years ago or whenever it was, about 20 years ago, he was hungry was why he was around the house up there.
Wow, that is so cool.
I know I don't talk very, very awesome, but
no, you're wonderful. What do you think of that, Patrick?
I think she's awesome.
I think you're awesome. No, he knows I'm for it.
And I've gifted the Sasquatch sweet corn. They don't like the store-bought stuff. I get the stuff from.
What about them being somewhat eating meat on occasion? Because I don't think they're entirely vegetarian. And the feedback I was getting right here was that he was hungry, and I had duck cooking, so it could be that he was after my sibling, her vegetarian meal. But Oh,
Well,
what are
that's a
your
good
thoughts?
question. Are they vegetarians or not?
I don't think so.
I
I think they
think
can be.
I've heard that they'll kill a deer if they're having a gathering.
Yeah, or like the natives where it's more, it was more special to you when you get meat, you there are times when you eat it, but it's not like we have it, three times a day, and um
Well,
surplus all the time.
some people believe that everything that every entity goes through on this planet is the earth or is the universe trying to experience itself, even to the fact that we have agreements to come and experience suffering. And I mean, I just think that maybe these animals have that agreement. I don't know.
I kind of think
Follow me on that.
I don't know. I see them as our guardians. You know.
Yeah. Mhm. I mean, I don't judge anyone. I mean, I am totally non-judgmental. I just don't want to be eaten by a Bigfoot.
I don't. They're not angry only on rare occasion. Um,
I've
I
had one scream at me.
have you?
I was not,
We
I was in the kitchen and it was unusual behavior. It was trying to get my attention. It was a bird. He kept on running into the window. So this is Sasquatch behavior. So I went outside. I seen the bird in the window and he flew to the tree. Then I went up to the tree and the bird is on
Oh, where'd you go?
the tree and he starts going down the edge of the tree. So I didn't know what it meant and I dismissed it right away and I walked away and all of a sudden there was a scream at the corner of my house and my dog was over there, jumped 5 feet in the air. I guess it got aggravated with me. I said, "Well, I don't know what it means."
Right?
I'm
That
I'm
is so great.
I'm
Oh
hesitant
my
to be
gosh.
near the
Tiffany
woods.
said, wait, let me see. You guys, this is just so funny. Somebody in the chat just said something funny. Let's see if I can post it. She says, 50 Shades of Gray or 50 Shades of Bigfoot. You saw that movie. She's just being
I love
funny.
it.
Um, yeah, but it's just hard to find these things. But yeah, you guys, I mean, it's just like right now, the thing that we're doing right now that we're live and it's kind of random and you guys are just opening up and telling your experiences is right now you're having an experience.
Yeah, actually, they're listening in on the conversation.
And that's
Tiffany
what
says, I'm getting feedback again. There we go. Solved.
Another show there, Kim.
well, I do this every Saturday. Are we good? I'm getting a little feedback. Maybe it's because I've got too many windows open.
Do you, if you have more than one of your live studio windows open,
Maybe we're getting disturbance from the
Just
forest people.
all of a sudden.
Yeah,
Okay,
they're
so
being they're
somebody is
be,
watching.
they're beaming love into my phone.
Well, this might be a good note to end on, and wish you guys have I wish you guys have a great evening.
I got a really awesome experience here when it was the last day at the Sasquatch family reunion, and I was with Hale Mendeck and two ladies, and we took the trail down to the Lake Roosevelt. That's over in Kettle Falls, Washington. That's where the gathering was. And Hale says, "Oh, maybe we'll see a Sasquatch." I said, "I got a chip on my shoulder," and I was like, "Maybe you'll see one because you're with me," you know. So we go down there and we're standing by the lake, and I'm just looking around, and I turn to Hale. I start talking to him. He says, "Oh, excuse me, Pat. I'm getting multiple communications." He's speaking to some ETs, they're Pleiadians, and I looked up and I seen two beings, right there. It seemed like it was a portal open, and there was a male and female Pleiadian standing there. And then, Hale turned to me and he said, "Camus said that I will not be seeing a Sasquatch tonight," and I started laughing. And then I, s- then he said to me, "Oh, Radar, he would like to contact you." And I looked over and I seen Radar. He doesn't see the beings, but he can communicate with them because he's got the psychic empath abilities to communicate. And I seen Radar said, "I'd like to contact you," which means he wants to give me a wellness visit. Which I won't even be conscious of it. They'll take me, bring me up in the ship, do whatever's for my highest good for me, and then put me back into my bedroom. And that's what I did. And that's what happened. I think they did that when I was on the couch because I put my wallet under the pillow, and then when I woke up in the morning, it was 7:30 in the morning. My wallet was on the floor, so I think everything levitated, the pillows and everything, and they just fell. So I had my wallet get out there on the floor when it was under the cushions.
Did you recall what you were uploaded with?
No, but I feel good. Yeah, because I asked Hale, I said, "Can you ask Radar what was done to me?" And he responded to me, says, "Radar said it's all good, dude."
Wow.
So you could go on YouTube and check out Sue Walker Sandia Wisdom, and you'll see all the portraits she does of the Ponte. Like some of them are Radar. There's Tookum. There's Grayson. There's Jill. There's Drudy. It's pretty awesome.
That is really cool.
And they're
I don't know
gardeners of
why.
they're gardeners of intellect. They're here to work with us humans and find our strongest parts. Work with them and to better ourselves. Say like if you're a good artist, you know, like Mem, she's a extraterrestrial art teacher for Sue, and she's enhanced Sue's artwork. Like
Oh, really?
sometimes Sue will be doing her artwork and her hands just moving on its own. She's not even moving it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Patrick, if you can understand me, I really enjoyed talking with you. I want to do this again. I think this is a good stopping point. Do keep in touch with me. Can you come back on again if you have any more experiences?
Yes, I will.
Okay, that would be great. I love it so much. It was just wonderful having you on. And
Thank you
so
for having me
definitely,
on.
just like you did, contact me in the chat again and we'll do this again.
Yeah, the best way to connect with Sasquatch, don't have no fear at all because they don't encourage fear. If they sense fear, they don't even, you know, they don't with you too much because they don't want you to be scared.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
I'll never forget that you
yeah,
said that. I'll never forget that.
yeah, yeah.
All right, Patrick. Thank you so much
All
for
right,
coming
Kim.
on. We'll see you again.
All right, I'll share some information uh on Messenger for you.
Okay, that'd be great.
Nice chatting with you, Kim.
Thank you. Bye. Wow. That was really amazing. I don't know why we got the feedback towards the end, but I'm hoping that we had good feed, or just a good feed for the better part of the show, for the podcast. So crossing our fingers. I don't know how it was for you guys, but we got a lot of information from both Amber and Patrick. It was great. I just, I want to mention a couple other things. Emery Smith, he is kind of the reason we're doing this. Cosmic Disclosure is the show that we love. You go to emerysmith.co to sign up for Gaia. You subscribe, and there's a lot of shows on there, but the one that you want to see that we're talking about is Cosmic Disclosure. Okay. And Emery, he starts out as a guest being interviewed by David Wilcock, and then he ends up becoming the interviewer. So we're still in the early stages because we're starting from the beginning. We did episodes 1 and 2 the last couple weeks. Today was episode 3. And he's still being interviewed. To me, these are the most eye-opening episodes of them all, because I don't know if it was just so impactful for me for the first time seeing it. I don't know, but these are very special episodes because they were back when Emery was saying that he was Paul, he was not Emery, and all this stuff is just amazing. So he's he we what I'm getting at is I want to show you what he does. Okay. He actually makes these drinks because he's a scientist. He worked in all these projects, and he makes these amazing serums. And here is a picture of his wife drinking the nano. It's actually let me get rid of this caption here. It's actually nanodyne water. And this is his beautiful wife, Darla, and she's drinking the nanodyne water. And I'm telling you guys, if you try this stuff, you get this sense of well-being. I have some, and I kind of spread mine out sparingly, and I drink it once in a while, and it is just an amazing sense of well-being that I have from it. But Emery ended up he healed his cancer from his own serums. He was diagnosed with cancer. You go back and watch the other episodes. It explains how they did this, how they cured his cancer. But he used this technology, and the nanodyne is it's iodine. This one has iodine and zinc in it. He has several different serums that he uses for different things. He's got the nano blue, the nano pink. This particular one is the nanodyne, and it has the iodine, the zinc, and it's got a plethora of applications. So those looking for a superior natural iodine and zinc nutraceutical and nanodyne is the answer. But you really need to go to emerysmith.co because it explains all the science behind these drinks. So you got to check it out. It's really amazing. And I just had to let you know that because I promised Emery that I would support his efforts because I believe in everything he's doing. He and his wife both are curing people and having miracles happen, and it's an amazing thing. So check it out, emerysmith.co. You can get all that, and they also have a Emery Star scanner that can scan your body and detect exactly what you have going on. So he could know you better than you know yourself from this scan. If you have any issues, they can pinpoint what the problems are, so you can make an appointment to be scanned. And then what they can do is from there, they can heal that because they know exactly what's wrong. So there you have it. It's pretty awesome. Highly recommend you guys going there And you should join Gaia, because this is why we're having all the fun, is because of joining Gaia. That's what I did. I joined Gaia, saw Cosmic Disclosure, and everything just took off from there. It's really fun. Let's do this again. I want you guys to have a great night. Love you all. And we'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Okay. We'll do this again. Okay. Bye-bye.